Tuesday. I hope you are all well. I have had a couple of days off because I have not been feeling very well, so I didn't get all my tracing started, I didn't get my proper videos filmed. I'm going to be doing that next week, but never mind. Feeling much more human again now. Just been into town to have a skin test because I'm getting my hair dyed and cut on Thursday, so I have to go in for a skin test 48 hours before every single one now, which is rather frustrating, but never mind. I bought myself some lunch whilst I was there you go, I'm not pointing to it at all. I have, as I've mentioned many times, the Grace bodice to put a zipper in to test the fit before I cut into my Hydrangea Story cotton lawn. That's the last thing that I need to get done sewing wise before I put the sewing table completely away into the corner so that I can pull the cutting table out to start doing the tracing and cutting session that I'm going to do next. I've got a few things that I want to try and do. So I've got the Simplicity 8013 out of the chiffon fabric. It's a polyester chiffon. This was always destined to be wearable muslin fodder for this dress, which is why I bought 10 meters of it, because this dress is a fabric hungry beast. The very lovely Alexandria bought me a 10-meter bolt of some rayon from Australia from Spotlight and sent it over to me as like a Christmas birthday present, which was amazing, and that was I think last year and it was to make this dress. As I think I told you guys in the last video that you've seen, I'm not sure if I want to make the maxi version in the rayon because I think I'll wear it more often as the midi version, but I am going to make the maxi version from this chiffon because I have 10 meters of it. We'll see. I love the idea of recreating that Pinterest post completely accurately, but I also don't want to have something in my wardrobe that's just not going to get worn as often as it would if it was a different length. So whilst that Pinterest dress is amazing, I think I'll wear it more as a midi, so I think that's what I'm going to go for. I've got the Bisou cotton that I made the A-line skirt, the cream A-line skirt out of that I'm not sure about. I want to make a waistcoat out of that. I'm going to do a full hip adjustment to the Vogue 9257. Kind of looking at the fitting issues I have with that pattern, I think it is, I've got wide hips and I know I've got wide hips, so I think I need to add some more width in there. If that doesn't work, then I'll try a full butt adjustment, but reading the diagnosis, like, you know, drag lines here, pooling here, that kind of thing, from what I'm experiencing, I think it is wide hips, which is no surprise. I have wide hips. I think my hips now measure something like 45-46 inches. They are big, so for me so yeah, I'm going to do the full hip adjustment first and see how that comes out in some calico. I'm also going to cut out another trace and cut out another muslin for the Decades of Style Empire waist trousers as well. Then I think I'm going to cut out something, a couple of wins as well. I absolutely love this shirt dress. This is the Vogue 9345. Another one of these is a definite possibility. I also really like the 6891 that I've just done. Lots of you are asking for a sew along for it. I know Sewing Bunny's done a sew along for it. I can do one because I fully lined the bodice, so I can do one showing you how I kind of tackled that if you'd like, but I know there are sew alongs for the 6891 out there already. That's a possibility. I'm not going to do an 8577. I have got an 8577 planned but I'm not going to do another one of those, and I'm thinking maybe an Eve dress, although I have got a lot of other dresses that I want to try. I took a whole bunch of patterns up with me the other night because I was just feeling, like I say, I've not been feeling great, so I wanted something to read on when I was sort of like in bed feeling sorry for myself. So the first one's the 6740 from McCalls. I've had this for ages. It's a really old pattern. I love View D with the double straps. I would make one of the straps thicker so it would cover my bar strap, but I really love that. I like View A and B with the cups and the godes, but I prefer the princess lines on D and C, and I like the length of D. I've got the 9182, which I'm doing a sew along for, so I need to get on with that one. And then I've got the 8947, which I've made about 6 or 7 of, but I traced it quite a while ago and it's with a B cup and it definitely doesn't fit anymore, so I need to retrace the bodice of that. Then we've got the 9328. I love View C and D, but I would probably try and make View E in this current climate because it's very warm today, which is lovely. We've got Vogue 9296, which I absolutely love. I want to do View A. I just think it's beautiful. I don't know if it's going to suit me. I don't know if it's something that I'm going to wear, but I really like it. Then we've got Vogue 9265. Again, really like this. It's a fairly simple dress, but I just fancy giving it a try. 9076, which I've been banging on about for ages, and I wasn't going to do until kind of like later on in the year because it is long sleeved. But with the weather we're having, it's not necessarily the worst thing to have long sleeves. And the same goes for the 9327. I want to do View B. And yes, it's a high neck dress with big sleeves, but the sleeves have giant slits in them. So I'm thinking it could be interesting. Satin, crepe and wool flannel is what it suggests. So I don't know. There are some more summer appropriate ones in there than others, and I've got the 8013 as well. I've got lots and lots of things that I want to get traced and cut out. I'm trying to limit myself again, so maybe sort of like 5 projects this time. So the 8013, the waistcoat, the trousers. I'm going to class the trousers as one project because they're still in muslin form. A dress that I know fits, so one of my shirt dresses, and then one of those new dresses. And I think it would probably be a good idea to do that McCalls one that I showed you first. Yeah, if I do those 5 projects, get those traced, cut out and sewn up, then I can move. Oh, 6 projects, because I really want to cut out the Hydrangea Story fabric and get that one done as well, because I think it's gorgeous. And if I can get this bodice to fit me at my new size, then it's going to be another one that there will be lots of in my wardrobe, because I just absolutely love it. Right, okay, so I'm going to eat my lunch. I am going to put the zip in and then get on with all the rest of the stuff that I've just waffled at you about. So I will check it back in with you a little bit later. Good morning, lovely peeps. Happy Wednesday. I didn't do very much yesterday. I traced or retraced the bodice of the Vogue 9345 and added the tie detail to the front and the front facing from the 5895. And I'm going to experiment with a fabric that's not too precious to me from this lot, because I think it's going to work, but I don't want to cut it out of the Hydrangea Story immediately until I've checked it. I also did a full bicep adjustment on the short sleeve of that pattern, because the short sleeve on that one measured 13 inches across, which is my arm measurement, so I've added 1.5 inches of ease to that. So I need to test that out and see how that worked out as well. I've made the big balloon sleeve from that dress pattern and I love it. I've added a cuff and like a continuous lap to the sleeve to kind of corral it at the wrist, and I absolutely love it, and I'm definitely going to be making more of those in autumn and winter. But I thought for a little tie front shirt for the summer, I thought short sleeves would be an interesting thing to add and at least try. And I also, as you guys know, need to do a full bicep adjustment on pretty much everything I'm making at the moment, so I thought I ought to try and learn how to do that. It wasn't difficult. We'll see if it worked. That's the next thing. I ended up taking these 2 patterns, the McCalls 5193 and the 6740, up to my room last night to read the instructions. I love the shape of the waistcoat on this pattern. I'm not sure about the shape of the trousers. I prefer wider leg trousers, but I do really like the skirt and the jacket from this as well. And as I mentioned, I really like C and D. I do like A and B with the cups and the godees, but I don't think they're for me. I think it's going to be View D that I'm going to make. Although that is a fully lined dress, and believe it or not, I want to see if I can draft a facing for it, because whilst I really like fully lined dresses most of the time, and I probably will do a fully lined dress for the final version, for the kind of wearable muslin that I'm going to make for this, I would rather not have to use the, you know, double the amount of fabric in a dress that I'm not sure is going to work for me. So I'm going to get those 2 traced out. I mean, I said yesterday that I want to try, or the day before, that I want to try and do sort of 5 projects, maybe 6, and then I want to trace out all of the things. I've got like a million patterns out and stuff, so I'm not sure what I'm going to limit myself to. I'm thinking that what I'm actually going to do this morning is cut out the KB Grace dress bodice and the skirt panels from the Hydrangea Story, because I definitely know what I want to do with that and what fabric I'm using. I'm not in a tracing mood at the moment, which is unfortunate because that's what I'm meant to be doing for the next couple of days. It's still feeling a little bit delicate from whatever I had at the weekend, but it'll be fine. It'll be totally fine. Just take it easy. Yeah, cutting out some actual fabric, which means a definite time lapse for you guys up in the little perch in the corner that I found for you, because I really liked watching the time lapse back when I did it last time. I should have a fairly decent amount of fabric left afterwards as well, because the KB Grace bodice is quite a small one. I should have enough to cut out the shirt, but like I say, I want to trial the shirt out of something less precious first. I'm also thinking, because the KB Grace dress is this sort of very strappy dress with, it's very low cut, it's a very booby dress. I don't mind that. I'm also thinking that the little shirt that I'm making out of the same fabric would look really nice tied over the top if I do want a little bit more coverage but want to wear that print. So I'm thinking it's going to work out quite nicely. I think that's the first thing that I'm going to do, is get that dress cut out, and then it will be starting the tracing marathon. Or I can alter the patterns, the trouser patterns. We'll see. We will see. But that is the plan for today, and I'm hoping that I feel much better and more like standing up for long periods of time, because yeah, that's what I need to do. But if I don't, and I've cut out that dress, I can always put everything back, get the sewing machine out, make that dress up, which is a sitting down project, and then come back to tracing when I'm feeling a little bit more human. So, you know, there are options. Anyway, I'm going to stop waffling at you, put you up in the little bird's nest, and we're going to get some patterns cut out. Exciting. You're always wonky. So I have, as you have seen, the only time lapse that I filmed today, I have cut out the KB Grace dress out of the Hydrangea story. I have a lot of that fabric left over, which is great. I've got to try to remember what I've done. The Vogue 8947, I have retraced the bodice of that. My previous tracing was the 8B cup. My current tracing is the 12D cup. And then I have traced the Vogue, no, not the Vogue, McCalls 5193, the waistcoat, and I have lengthened that. As I've been tracing these patterns, I have been altering them as I go, rather than tracing everything, cutting everything out and altering everything. I've been doing it pattern by pattern, just so that it's a bit of variety. The McCalls, I can't remember the number off the top of my head, but the sundress, I have traced that out, and I've done a 3-inch full bust adjustment, which has created some crazy looking pieces. So I have also added, because as I think I mentioned, the dress is fully lined and I don't want to necessarily have to do that. There are some fabrics that I want to make this out of that are fairly see-through, so I will line those ones fully. But for some of my darker viscoses, I have drafted what is essentially a giant facing. So I've basically kind of drafted or literally copied the pieces and put a seam in at the waistline, and my theory is that I can finish off the kind of like the seam at the waistline and then tack it to each of the seam points, or the points on this, you know, the different, you know what I mean. At the waistline I can tack it to each of the seams so that it holds itself in place, and because it's going to be such a long facing, it then won't like peel out and annoy me the way that facings usually do. And if this works, I may do the same for the So La Di Da Sweetheart dress, because I hate facings. But that dress has a facing to finish the neckline, which it needs, or you've got to fully line it, and I don't want to do either of those things. So there's that one. Then I have altered the Vogue 9257 trousers. I have done a wide hip adjustment for those. And then I have got the Simplicity 8013 to trace, and then I have another Vogue dress over there that I want to trace as well. That's a lot of projects. That is a lot of projects. Because I also did the Vogue 9345 combined mashup with the Butterick 95 shirt yesterday, and the only thing I've got cut out at the moment is the Hydrangea Story grey dress. So for the shirt that I just mentioned, oh, battery's dying. Okay, sorry, battery's back. Right, so for the shirt I just mentioned, I have done a full bicep adjustment as well. Now I was going to cut it out of fabric there. It's a shirting that Mum used for Dad, and there's quite a lot left over, so I think I'd be able to get the shirt out of it. However, it's a check and I don't want to pattern match. It is nice fabric, so I don't want to ruin it by not pattern matching. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that out of calico, that shirt, the shirt out of calico. I'm going to cut the new trousers, the 9257s, out of calico, although I'm going to do them a short length because I only need to test the fit up to my hips. I don't need to, I've adjusted the length, I know what length I need. I'm going to do the 8947, I'm going to cut that out of calico as well, just to double check, because some of the ones that I've made previously I've put a waistband on, and I had 2 bodices in that folder, one with a length adjustment, one without, and I think I want to do it without a waistband, so I want to double check that fit. And then the McCalls summer dress that I cannot remember the number of, I'm going to cut out what I've done as a waist long facing, just to check that full bust adjustment, because yeah, I'm not 100% confident on that one. But the pattern piece, the finished garment measurement was 36.5, and I need it to be sort of 39.5. So I've added 3 inches as a full bust adjustment on that one, and yeah, like I said, the pattern piece has come out a bit weird shaped, so I want to double check before I cut into fabric for that one. I've only got one, I've got 2 viscoses in my stash that were bought with the idea of being wearable muslin fodder, but one of them is white background and will need fully lining, and I don't want to do that for a muslin because I just feel that if it doesn't fit, that's a waste of fabric. And then the other one I've actually kind of decided I quite like, and I kind of want to make a true bias Shelby out of it because I think it would be really kind of like retro 90s and look really cool. I think the best bet would be to make them out of calico and just test the fit before I start cutting into any fabrics. And then the waistcoat, the 5193, I am going to cut straight into the cream fabric back here. I'm probably going to do it slightly differently to the way that they say, because they do say to do the back in lining for the outer and the inner. In my mind, if it's being worn as part of a suit, then yes, you don't need the back of the waistcoat to be the fashion fabric, and it will sit under a suit jacket better if it's shiny, slippery fabric on the back. But I don't want to wear this particular waistcoat under anything else. I want it to be the final layer, as it were, so I'm going to do the front and back out of this creamy fabric and then line the interior. That is my plan. Yeah, it's been quite a busy day. Quite a busy day. I've just been and cooked dinner for Mum and Dad. We had sea bass with a herby lemon butter sauce and basically chips, but homemade chips from scratch. So I'm feeling quite accomplished. Like, how many things am I going to trace out? I'm in the tracing mood, so we'll see how my feet hold up, because my feet have absolutely been killing me today. Really killing me. Lots of you guys have been saying I need to get some of those standing mats, and I'm going to have a look into those. They are a great idea. I just need a couple of them because I stand on, I need them each side of the cutting table, and then they need to be easily pull-upable because everything is not stationary and needs to move. So yes, I am looking into those. That's a very good idea, and probably some more comfortable shoes, although I do have my Forever Comfort ballet flats with lots of cushion and padding in them at the moment, so they have helped definitely. Anyway, that was 5 minutes of waffle, so I'm going to carry on with my tracing and alteration marathon. I think Decades of Style next. I think that's the way forward. Okay, I've ironed the pattern pieces for the Vogue 9296, but I've completely forgotten that it is Sewing Bee semi-finals this evening, so I'm going to leave my giant piles of work. I feel very productive. I've got quite a lot done today, and I might have accidentally got some more patterns out that I'm thinking about tracing out. I want to make all the things and I'm getting into that stage where I'm just like, oh, if I get it all prepped, then when I come to actually sewing, it's going to be so good. I've got out a couple of vintage 70s patterns, one of which will fit me straight out the envelope. The other one I need to do a full bust adjustment to, and it's a similar princess seam that I did earlier today, so I'm kind of contemplating doing that. But I am going to take both of those patterns back up to my room this evening just to have a read through the instructions and see how they go together. So yeah, it's been a really productive day. Given how non-productive yesterday was, I'm definitely feeling a lot better, which is great. So I'm going to have an early night for me and go watch the sewing bee. I'm going to start the chat thread on the Peeps group so that anyone who wants to chat through what's going on at the same time. Dad's just about to walk in and interrupt me. Here he comes.
Hi.
Dad's just brought all the shelves in that have been outside being painted because it's just started to spit. So where was I? It's been a productive day. I'm feeling much better. I am going to the hairdresser's tomorrow, which is good because it needs a trim. But yeah, I'm really excited about this next batch of sewing. I am not sure what I'm going to cut some of these projects out of, but for the ones that I do know, I think they're going to look really cool. On that note, I'm going to say goodnight. So I hope you've enjoyed what I've been up to for the last couple of days, and I will see you all again very soon. Bye!